How is everybody doing? Welcome back to another live stream. We've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about the recent price action on Bitcoin. We've had a bit of a rejection from this ascending channel. We're going to talk about this and how we had something very similar happen in 2022. We're also going to talk about the week ahead, some of the events that we have this week. There is a holiday on Monday, so don't expect too much volatility tomorrow. But I do believe this week is going to be very telling. It's really going to be the week that determines whether Bitcoin is going to go and move up higher here to the 50-week moving average and complete this complacency bounce, or whether it is indeed going to lose this massive support that used to be massive resistance around $94,000. We're going to talk about all of it in today's live stream. But first, definitely check out Blowfin. There is a link down below. There's a current campaign where you can get some rewards if you use my link and sign up to an account and deposit some money. It's a non-KYC exchange, and you can use it anywhere in the world, even the US if you have a VPN. So definitely check it out. There's a link down below. Make sure you use that specific link. So, yeah, I'm back with the daily live streams. Like I said, we're going to be streaming every single day. I'm even going to try and stream on weekends, but it's not a guarantee that every weekend I'll be live. So make sure you are subscribed and you have the notifications on, because I'm looking forward to being back and just streaming every single day as much as possible. Because yes, it's feeling like a little bit of a bear market right now, but that's where all the opportunity is. That's where all the money is truly made, because that's where the big decisions are made. Whether you leave the space and go away and wait until it comes back green again, or whether you dig in deep, you find the gems, you find the opportunities, you find the short positions, and you make a lot of money in the bear market. So we're going to be here nonstop, 24/7. After this live stream, I'm going to be going over into the Discord for a voice chat with the VIP members. But yeah, let's talk about the market. So Bitcoin broke out of the sideways channel it was in. We've got the two clear levels, the resistance up here around 94 and the support down here around 83. We broke to the upside on that, which was great. We had a nice cup and handle forming. You can see the cup there and the handle. We broke out of the cup and handle, and we pumped up to around $97.9 thousand. Now, interestingly, and I didn't even spot this until just recently, there is actually a channel, an ascending channel on Bitcoin on the daily, which you can see has got multiple hit points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 separate days we've hit this and rejected. That's 8 hit points, 8 points of confluence to back up this trend line. And we're talking separate days here. So you've got all those hits on the resistance. And then on the support, you've got 1, 2. I mean, I guess you can't count this too much, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different hits on the support. So very valid channel here. And interestingly, something very similar was created after Bitcoin went in and put its top in during 2021. Bitcoin went and put a top in, 69K in 2021. It then came down, crashed quite hard, and then it gave us this upward channel. And then that broke to the downside after the complacency rally, after the dead cat bounce. And that's where the real pain of the bear market began. And I'm going to see if I can just share this exact chart here, the Wall Street cheat sheet. I know a lot of people know it already, but I'm really wondering where you guys think we are right now. I personally believe we're at complacency. We're almost completing that complacency move here. We're at like 95K. Maybe we can rally up to 100, 106 maybe, if it's a good complacency bounce, but I don't see us going much higher than that. So I do believe we're at the complacency phase of the Wall Street cheat sheet. Many people say that we're at anger, we're at depression. I just don't see that, guys. Bitcoin went from 126K down to 80. That is not enough to warrant us being in anger or depression. It's just simply not. We were at 74K back in April. Okay? For us to really hit depression, we need to be at like 50K, 60K. Not 80. 80 is not an incredibly cheap Bitcoin. The 200-week moving average is still sat in the high 50s. And Bitcoin always comes down to retest that. So there is no evidence to me that we're at depression or anger. I think the low of 80 was this little bit here. You see that? I don't know if I can zoom in. That for me was where 80K was. That's where 80 was. We're probably going to come down. Now, it's not going to be as brutal maybe as last time. Not going to be as brutal, but I still think we're going to come down lower at some point. And a lot of other credible experts in this space also agree with me. Now, this is a full document that I gave out to my mentor tier members. I did a full outline of 2026. I would say that it was on the level of a course. That's how much knowledge was packed into this 1 hour video that I gave to the mentor tier members. And I could see someone in the chat, Tush. Hopefully I said your name right. Tush R. Gupta. Very difficult name to pronounce for me. I apologize if I butchered it. Said, wanted to join your group. What's the difference between the VIP and the big bundle? The big bundle gives you lifetime VIP and lifetime mentor tier, plus course access, and loads of other perks as well. One-to-one DMing, stuff like that. So one-to-one calling as well. So the bundle gives you everything on the VIP plus a whole lot more. And if you go to wop.com/CryptoArchie, you can see all the perks outlined for each tier. But the bundle, it's a lifetime package and it's lifetime mentorship. So it's a really big deal. But that you gain access to the 2026 video as well, which I did, which, like I said, is almost on the level of like a full-on course, which I could sell separately. But yeah, I believe that we are in that complacency phase. There's no evidence to me that we're in that depression or we hit depression at 80K. Yes, the fear and greed went very low. But that doesn't mean that, like, on a macro point of view, we hit depression. Maybe short-term depression was hit, but I don't think on a macro point of view. And the best way to value Bitcoin is to look at the moving averages. It really is. That's the best way to look at Bitcoin's value. What do I mean by that? I mean determining whether Bitcoin is very expensive, fair value, cheap, or very cheap. That is how you determine which category of those those words Bitcoin falls into. How far away is it from its 200-week moving average? That is, for me, the best way of determining the relative value of Bitcoin. Like I said, is it at its fair value? Is it cheap? Is it expensive? You know, et cetera, et cetera. I would argue the fair value is maybe like the 100 moving average on the weekly. I would say that is maybe the fair value of Bitcoin, where it's neither cheap nor expensive. That's another way of putting it. It would be neither cheap nor expensive. Let me just put this in a different color so we can all see. Which color do we like? Let's go red. Why not? So the red line is the 100-week, and we've actually been using the 100-week as support. We've actually been using the 100-week as support during this dip. So I would argue the 100-week is around about the fair value of Bitcoin. It's neither super expensive nor is it super cheap. You're getting it at the right price. But we want to buy it cheap. That's what we want to do. We want to buy it cheap. Not expensive, cheap. Ideally very cheap if we can. But cheap is good enough for me. Now, what do I define as buying Bitcoin cheap? I would say buying Bitcoin cheap is by buying it near the 200-week moving average, okay? But definitely below the 100. Buying it above the 100, you're buying it expensively, in my opinion, here. Buying it above the 50, I mean, you're buying it very expensively, right? So I would say around the 200-week is a good level to determine it as cheap. Below the 200, I would say, yeah, that's very cheap. That is a fire sale. And you can see during the 2022 bear market, we actually came slightly below the 200 week, which is your black line here. We were below the 200 week for a short period. The 200 week was down at 22K, and we actually came down to 15K. Now, there were various reasons why this was a deviation, because usually Bitcoin does find support at the 200 week, but 2022, it went even lower. One of the reasons is FTX. Another reason is we were in a recession in the US. But, if you look historically speaking, Bitcoin does find support on that 200 week. The bear market low of 2018. The COVID crash, even though we wicked below it, that was merely a wick. We actually closed on the line. And then you can go back even further to 2015, respecting that 200-week moving average. So it's a very credible level to look at for Bitcoin, and it's a very cheap level to be buying Bitcoin there or thereabouts, right? It doesn't have to be on the line. You don't have to be super, super precise about it, but as long as it's near it, give or take a few percentage points, you're buying Bitcoin cheap. So for me, it has to come down there at some point. And the thing is, it is creeping up. So maybe by the time we go there, it's at 60K, 65K, something like that. But it will go there at some point. And I believe it will go there in 2026, probably in the first half of 2026. But I believe it will go there. Depends how long this complacency rally takes. And obviously, I always have to say it, I could be wrong, believe it or not. I could be wrong. But I don't think I will be wrong. But I could be. So I always have to say it, because there's some people out there who think that I'm infallible and, I always have to be right to be legitimate. No, I don't. I don't always have to be right. As long as I'm right more than I'm wrong, then I'm in the minority of investors, because most investors are wrong more than they're right. So I believe we're in the complacency phase right now. We are fulfilling that complacency phase. And then once it's done, we're going to go into anxiety, denial, panic, anger. And it doesn't have to be as bad as last time. I always say this. Last time, we actually went below the 200 week. We don't have to go below it. There's a lot of people out there calling for a $30,000 Bitcoin there or thereabouts. And I don't think that has to be the case, because we had diminishing returns to the upside. We're also probably going to have diminishing returns to the downside, most likely. So if you think about it, Bitcoin didn't even double compared to its previous all-time high. That is a huge diminishing return. 2021's all-time high was 69K. 2025's was 126. We did not even double. That's never happened before. If you look at the difference between 2017's high of 20K up to 69K, that's a huge difference, right? That's a huge, huge difference. You're talking like 3 or 4x. This time we didn't even 2x the previous high. So there's clearly diminishing returns. So it's probably going to happen to the downside too. We have Joey in the chat. I think that's Dime Boy. Please confirm. Confirm or deny. 87K is the average ETF spot price. Yeah. So that's something to consider as well. Who do you think are credible in this space? There's not many people, but there's a few. There's a few out there. The thing is, there's some people who are credible, but I still don't like them. Like, they're not scammers, but they're just not good. I find them annoying. So it's actually a really difficult question, like to point to people who I recommend to watch. I can tell you some people who are not scammers. They mean well. But just because someone means well doesn't mean you should watch them. There's plenty of people in the world who mean well. They haven't got a clue about crypto, right? So, look, there's a handful of people who mean well in crypto, But out of those people who mean well, I'd say very few of them actually give good takes on the market. So, but I would say that overall, there's a few decent people still left. I'll say that. Thing is, I don't want to name names because then if I miss people out, they're gonna be mad at me, right? Some of my friends in the space. So I always try not to name names because I do have a few friends in the space, not many, but I have a few. And let's say I name 2 or 3 of them, and the other guy I miss out, I'm gonna be the villain. But all I would say is just because someone like might mean well and they might be a good person or whatever doesn't mean like you should listen to their crypto knowledge or lack thereof sometimes. It looks to me like we are in the anger phase. Retail is out. I don't know, anger phase. I don't think we're there yet, man. It can get a lot worse. It really can. Um, but you might be right. You might be right, but I don't think we're there yet. Yeah, I'll be in the voice chat later. Absolutely. Yeah, there's been a lot of good meme coin trades in the VIP lately by some of the members. Absolutely. Very happy to be seeing that. Yes, the code tariff is still applicable at checkout. You can still use that. I want to talk a little bit here about Bitcoin, like in the short term. So you can see we're in this rising channel or ascending channel. If we lose this support level here, I will get very concerned. I've got to be honest with you. If we lose this green box support level, basically 94K, I will get quite concerned. I don't think we can afford to lose 94K. I think it would be very bearish if we do. A loss of 94K for me will most likely bring us back down to like 88, 87, something like that. Basically the lows of this range, the support side. And it would also invalidate the cup and handle that we formed. We've just done a lot of work to try and build bullish structure here that if we were to just fall over on this support level, then I think it would do a lot of damage actually. And we probably would end up not only coming down to the lows of the range here, but probably losing it and making that move down to 74K. So I have been calling on this channel for weeks of a complacency rally top of around 100 to 106K. I did say 98 on one of the streams, but I've got to be consistent, right? I've most of the time said 100 to 106K. I still stand by that, but I'm not liking this channel. I've got to be honest with you. I'm not liking it, especially when you look historically. We were in this exact same pattern formation at the end of the 2022 bull market. I want to try and find it here. Let's go back and see. Sorry, the end of the 2021 bull market. Let's go back. So is this it? There you go. So you can see very clearly, guys, it didn't take me long to find it. We had the initial drop from the high, all-time high followed by initial drop, initial crash. Then you have a bit of sideways action, people starting to believe the bull market is back on again. So that is your sideways, kind of slightly up action. People thinking, oh, higher highs, higher lows. This must be super bullish. No. Just because you get higher highs and higher lows doesn't mean that's a bullish structure. Usually these types of things break to the downside, actually. So there's that. You can see we went sideways for some time from January all the way until April. So we were basically sideways until almost the middle of the year. And then, boom, that is when we came down and the real bear market hit us. And that was a serious reality check for a lot of people, because this one move from the loss of 40K brought us straight down to 17. From the point of losing 40K, we came straight down to 17. There is absolutely no reason why if Bitcoin loses the channel that we're currently in, it can't go from losing 84, is it 86K, something like that? Losing 86K to going all the way down straight to 60 or 50. There's no reason why I can't do that if it does lose the support side. So that's just something to be aware of. I mean, that crash after losing that, I remember it was brutal. It was seriously brutal. Luckily, I was out of the market, but a lot of people were not. A lot of people were still in the market. And let's just pull up the weekly and see if we can just check the moving averages while we're at it, just to see the context around the moving averages at that point. So that is also when we came up to the, there we go. That is also when we came up to the 50-week again. We went for it, but we failed. Really interesting how similar it is. I mean, it's actually crazy. You know, they say history doesn't repeat. It rhymes. It's so similar. It's like, even the timing, like it began in January. Even the timing is similar. So let's take a quick look at the 200 daily. Let's have a look at the 200 daily here. See if we can spot that rejection point. Go back. There we go. So we also rejected from the 200 daily on the dot. You see that rejection there at the 200 daily on the dot. Perfect rejection. Maybe that's going to happen all over again. So yeah, I agree with you, YouTube expert. This is basically like the scam pump. This is basically the scam pump. Now, this could actually go on a lot longer than people think. This could go on a lot longer than people think. And that's kind of the annoying part, in a way. We could literally just be doing this for months. And, you know, the other thing is you can even widen the channel. If we make another high, you can kind of widen it a bit. Like, this could just go on for ages. It really could. Now, on the positive note, there will be money to be made during this price action, because at least we're not dumping, right? At least it's somewhat bullish. So whilst Bitcoin's just steadily going up, you could make some really good gains on some altcoins. And I'm going to show you some potential altcoin trades right now. One of the alts I have on my radar is XRP. Not because I love the fundamentals or anything like that, but because the chart looks ready. This is XRP on the 4-hour, guys. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful chart. I'm waiting for a potential breakout here, and then I'm going to go pretty heavy into this. Set my stop loss just below the golden pocket, and boom, you might have yourself a really nice trade. So that's XRP. Golden pocket has been acting as support very nicely here. I'm watching this one super closely. The Black Bull meme has been printing for our DGen group, along with many others. Check it out. Bren is like the meme prodigy. Yeah, Bren is absolutely insane at meme coins. He's probably up there as one of the best meme coin traders in the space, I believe. And we have him in our group. So he's called multiple 100Xs this cycle. Multiple 100Xs. He's made people millions of dollars with his meme coin calls. So, That's one thing Brian is very talented at. I don't know why. That it might just be an innate talent. It might be all the hard hours of work. But we're very lucky to have him in the group when it comes to the meme coin side of things, because I don't think there's many on his level. And yeah, he's called some absolute insane winners in that DGen chat. And I'm glad you're printing, Tim. Glad you're making money. Watch Black Bull pull a useless coin when I called that, if it does 100x. If it does 100x, we know who called it first. XRP long incoming. Yeah, it looks good. It does look good, actually. You got compression of the price. You got a golden pocket acting as clear support multiple times. If it does get this breakout of this this upside resistance here, you could get a really nice pump on XRP. If you want to be conservative, you could just take profits there, $2.40. Set your stop loss just below the golden pocket. You got yourself a nice 3x leverage trade potentially on Blowfin. That's where I'll be trading if I open a long on XRP. But I do like the setup. Let me know which altcoins you guys are in right now, and I'll take a look at some of the charts. Memes are coming back in full force. I don't know if they're back in full force, but they're definitely having a nice little rally. Gaming coins as well, I noticed. Gaming coins as well. Let's look at the top gainers. So MYX, Dash, IP, Hyperliquid. Not too many memes in the top gainers. It's more the microcap memes, right? The legacy memes are still very dead. The Giga Chads and the Bretts and those types of memes. It's more those microcap memes on Deck Screener that are pumping a lot. In terms of this week, it's a holiday on Monday, Martin Luther King Day or something like that. I don't really know. So many holidays in the US. Like, there's a holiday for every different person's birthday, it seems. Every different... it's insane how many holidays you guys have. It seems like every month there's a holiday in the US. How many holidays are there in a year? Over in the States. Like, it's just days off all the time. Crazy. But obviously, we'll still be streaming on Monday. We always stream, so it's not gonna affect this channel. This weekly close, I think, is quite important, actually. I'd like to see Bitcoin close above 94. 94.7, ideally. And if we can get a little bit of a bounce into the close, then that would be even better. Yeah, we were on the voice chat last night looking for some good trade opportunities. Quant looks like a good long-term trade opportunity, and Gala looked absolutely primed. How good did Gala look? We'll pull up the Gala chart in a moment, but let's just look at the week ahead. So we have holiday on Monday, nothing really going on Tuesday. Wednesday, Trump's going to speak, and you have the WEF annual meeting. Thursday, you have core PCE. That's an inflation metric. Then you have final GDP quarter over quarter. Friday, you have flash manufacturing PMI, and you have flash services PMI. So not really any major points of data next week. You have some quite important points of data, such as the PCE on Thursday, but no CPI, no employment data. So I don't think it's going to be too turbulent when it comes to economic news, but I think it's going to be a very important week because of Bitcoin's current price action, because of where it stands. It needs to make a move. It needs to make a decision quite soon. And if it does end up losing this support of 94K, I think it's going to look pretty bad quite quick. We're going to drop like a fly, in my opinion, if we lose that support level. But I want to take a quick look at Gala, because we were in the voice chat last night for about 4 hours in the Discord, maybe even longer, looking for opportunities. And one of the ones we came across was Gala, so I'll share it with you guys. But we came across many, many others. But yeah, Gala, look at that. So Gala Games, remember this one? The OG viewers on the channel will remember it, but you had this wedge that it's been in for a while. Breakout of that wedge with a cup and handle within it. Whenever it gets like a confirmed daily candle above this resistance point, it's going to take off. You have the perfect setup here for a nice pump. If you get that confirmed daily candle above 0.0079, that's all you need. And you got a really nice setup for a rally there on Gala. Hey, Arch, I love the Discord. Bro, appreciate that. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate everyone watching on X as well. Definitely repost the stream if you're watching over on X. How many people you got on X? 92? Definitely hit the repost button, and the like helps out a ton. But yeah, waiting for this XRP move to happen. A lot of alts have pumped 50 to 60% from Jan 1st. Yep. Where Bitty goes, alts will go. I do agree with that as well, completely. As long as Bitcoin doesn't crash, like even Bitcoin can go sideways and alts could pump if the setups are there. It just can't crash. That's what Bitcoin can't do. And I believe if it loses 94, it will drop quite hard, because you can see, historically speaking, every time it has lost 94 or rejected, it dumps straight down to the lows of the range. I think this time would be no different. A loss to 94 will bring us straight back down, probably to the high 80s. And that's on the positive side. We could even lose that support, and then we'd be looking at a retest of 80, and then after 80, you'd be looking at a retest of 74. So just something to think about. We have to hold that 94K. I really can't stress it enough. I would expect Bitcoin to drop like a fly if we lose 94. Only currency needed for the Surface Alpha from Archie is to smash the likes. I do appreciate everyone who's hit a like. Helps out so much. It also motivates me to do the streams more often. When I see people are actually liking the content, it makes me want to do them more often, make the streams longer, plan them more, put more effort into them. It's a little bit of motivation as well. Koshi up 11%. 11x. I thought you were going to say 11% then. 11x in the Discord. Wow. Insane. Doge. What's Doge been doing? I haven't been following Doge in a while. Dogecoin, it's held up okay. I mean, it's still sat, guys, at a 23 billion market cap. You got to give it to Doge. Like, it could have dumped a lot more than it has. Certainly could have dumped more, considering where a lot of the other cryptos have gone. Even the blue chips like Sui. So Doge failed to make a new high this bull run. Failed to make a new high, which obviously isn't great. Bitcoin made a new high. Ethereum made a new high. Solana made a new high. BNB made a new high. XRP made a new high, but Doge failed. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything like overly interesting with this chart, you know, to be honest. I'm not seeing much that's like getting me out of my seat. Just seems like it's in distribution. Like it's just going sideways. There's nothing to really point to. I mean, we can look at the short term, look at the daily, and see maybe there's a channel or a wedge structure that's at play, like there is with a lot of these altcoins. Maybe you've got a bit of a resistance line there that's been broken, which is obviously a good thing. You can see the rally that preceded breaking that. So, you got a bit of a structure there. It's looking quite bullish in the short term, but I don't know, man. I'm not that excited about Dogecoin. I haven't been excited about it since 2021. What about Say? Say's been brutal. This has been one of the alts that have it's been absolutely decimated. It was in a channel kind of thing, maybe more of a wedge. See, a channel is completely parallel like this. That's not completely parallel, but you know what I mean. A channel is fully parallel, whereas a wedge, it's kind of coming inwards, narrowing, which it is. It's narrowing. So a bit of a wedge type of thing, followed by a breakout, come back down. Now it's just hovering and not doing much. Dime Boy's in the stream right now, and he's a very active member of the Discord. And one of the things he always says is it's about the bounce. It's a very important comment, very important point. You have to have an impulsive, high volume bounce. And unfortunately, the bounce from Say hasn't been too convincing. I'm not saying that it's completely invalidated this breakout. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I want to see a nice impulsive bounce, kind of like what IP did or XPL did. Now, on the positive note, Say is holding the golden pocket, which is certainly positive. But if it loses that, I would get very concerned. So it's one of those. It's a good thing it's holding it, but if it does lose it, which is very close to doing, then I would get quite concerned. So that's Say. Compare that to the likes of IP, which we caught in the VIP, and we made really good profits on this trade. Great profits. The money I made on this trade is going towards a new property. So that's how profitable this trade was for myself. And I think VIPs, maybe some of them made even more money than me on it. So there's some big hitters in the VIP. People have $10 million crypto portfolios plus. But yeah, you can see the breakout. That was more of an impulsive breakout. So I'm not saying that Say can't do that, but I think the first few candles after the pump are quite important. They got to be impulsive. How low do I think Tau could go? In a bear market scenario, it could go a lot lower. It could go a lot lower in a bear market. I mean, it could retest those April lows. There's support on Tau down at 165. You got a double bottom there. It could make a triple bottom. It could go to the wick of the 1010 crash. It's very, very hard to predict where an altcoin will bottom out, like months and years in advance. It's very difficult. No one can really do that. Especially an altcoin that's brand new. You haven't got much data to go off, but it's not that difficult to predict the bottom of Bitcoin because there's trends there. There's historical trends. So, and I made a YouTube short on this. Someone was asking me the question. They were basically saying it was impossible to time altcoin bottoms. And I was saying, in a sense, yes, it is. It's impossible to time altcoin bottoms in isolation. But when you look at Bitcoin and you extrapolate from Bitcoin towards the altcoins, then yes, you can time the altcoin bottoms. But you can't look at you can't look in isolation. You can't just look at Tau and say, this is what the bottom's going to be. It's not very easy to do that, especially when it's never had a bear market before. But you can look at Bitcoin and you can say, right, Bitcoin looks like it's probably going to bottom out somewhere around the 200-week moving average. Whenever it hits that, I'm just going to buy the altcoins. And you save yourself all this storage in your brain of trying to time the alts in an isolated fashion. You save yourself all this storage in your brain that you can focus on other things rather than stressing on trying to time each individual altcoin's bottom months and months and months in advance. Just focus on Bitcoin. When Bitcoin looks like it's bottomed out, then you can buy up all these alts wherever they are. Whether Tao's at $200, whether it's at $160, or whether it's at $80. Doesn't matter. It's probably going to bottom within the same week period that Bitcoin bottoms, because that's exactly what happens every cycle. The alts just follow Bitcoin. Until I get enough evidence that alts are moving on their own and they've detached from Bitcoin, I'm just going to stick to charting Bitcoin and then just extrapolate, because that's been working for me for a long time. So Bitcoin at 95K, holding that support level. I'm going to be watching this like a hawk. It cannot lose this support. I mean, it can, but if it does, I'm saying that the consequences are going to be pretty bad in the short term. We're going to have a big drop. And it'll be quick. XPL. Yeah, I can take a look at XPL. So we got that nice breakout on XPL, and now it's given back quite a fair bit of those gains. It lost the golden pocket, but it's kind of holding that 786 fib. So hopefully this holds on XPL and it can gather some momentum to push to the upside. Otherwise, it's just going to give back all those gains. And, maybe you can hope for a double bottom. But I'm fairly confident that if Bitcoin can start pushing up here, then XPL will make another move up and make a higher high to this. Sandbox long? I don't know. Thank you for the fire alpha, Mr. Archie. Appreciate that, Hugo. Can you elaborate on your views on gaming narrative, please? Yes, I can. So I put out a tweet saying that, as crazy as it sounds, I believe crypto gaming will make a comeback in 2026. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't mean all the gaming coins are going to make new all-time highs. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that I believe there's going to be a period where gaming coins rally very strongly, and it's going to catch a lot of people off guard, and all the big YouTubers are going to be talking about gaming again. That's my prediction. Now, interestingly with gaming, it's been in a bear market whilst crypto has been in a bull market. That's the situation with gaming. Gaming has been in a bear market whilst crypto has been in a bull market. So is it completely wild to suggest that gaming could pump during some periods of the bear market? Now, I know I said earlier that alts follow Bitcoin, and that is absolutely the case with 99.9% of alts. But it seemed like gaming coins weren't even following Bitcoin this cycle. When Bitcoin would pump, gaming coins wouldn't even move up. And another interesting thing about the gaming coins is since the last couple of months, they haven't dumped that much. They did most of their dumping when all the other altcoins were making their new all-time highs. That's when gaming coins were dumping the most, was when everything else was pumping. So, if you go and look at gaming coins and you look at their all-time highs, barely any of them are in October. Most of them put in their all-time highs in 2024 or early 2025. Very, very few of them did it in October. And the ones that did are usually new gaming coins. So they clearly are one of the narratives that detached from Bitcoin. And I agree that there's been issues with gaming coins, lack of hype, lack of legitimate use cases, as Alif has said. I agree with all of that. But all it takes is one game. That's all it takes. One of them to do well, and then it's like a positive feedback loop on all the others. We've seen that in the past. We've seen evidence of that in the past with Axie Infinity. That was the first one to come around. It started pumping, and then all the others came up as well. The rising tide lifts all ships. That kind of situation going on. So all it takes is one. Now, with that said, it's been multiple years since we had a massive gaming pump. So that kind of makes it sound easier said than done. But I still stand by it. Like, I think gaming isn't dead. It will come back. It looks dead, just like memes have looked dead in the past. Just like memes have looked dead in the past. Just like XRPs looked dead in the past. And all of a sudden, comes back with a vengeance. But yeah, it's all about hype, you know, adoption and all of that. I don't think it matters too much with crypto. You just need the hype to be there. As long as there's one game, all the microcap crap coins will pump as well. And if we look at Axie, that has been pumping lately. It has been moving up. Axie Infinity climbed quite significantly in the last week, basically doubled. Now, we were discussing this in the voice chat the other day in the VIP, and I kind of put it down to two reasons. One is a short squeeze, and two is an exit pump as to why some of these gaming coins pumped. Quite often you get exit pumps where there's loads of people holding and the big whales get together and they say, we need to pump this so we can get out. That's what an exit pump is. It happens quite often. And that's why sometimes you get these dino coins skyrocket out of nowhere, because there's a coordinated exit pump. Another reason is a short squeeze. You got all these shorts from multiple months, multiple years sometimes, building up. And then you get one rally of 20% up in a day. And then it's this chain reaction of all the shorts starting to get liquidated. That's what happened with GameStop. GameStop was shorted for so long by so many people with so much money. It had one little rally and the shorts started to get liquidated. And that is a positive feedback loop for the price. So you do get exit pumps, but also you get short squeezes that turn into real pumps. Axie Infinity did show some life. It gave a really nice pump. You got to bear in mind, look at it compared to all-time highs. It's down 98.8%. Like, this is nothing. Nowhere near all-time highs. Not even close. So it's not hard for something to dump. I mean, it's not hard for something to pump 2x when it's down 100x. You know what I mean? It's like it's already down so much that to pump it, it's not even that difficult. Do I think the upcoming cycles will get even tougher? I don't think you're going to get much tougher than what 2025 was. I think we will get a very easy bull run at some point. Maybe when all the QE and all the money printing finally hits the market. But this wasn't the cycle for that. This cycle was a cycle of restrictive monetary policy. So you didn't get these crazy banana zone rallies that a lot of people were calling for. And by the way, on my channel, I never called for a banana zone. I said we'd get a slight higher high kind of bull run. And that's what happened for a lot of alts. BNB, Solana, Ethereum made a slight higher high. I wasn't expecting these major blow off tops. I was never calling for a 10K ETH. My target on Ethereum was always 4 to 6K. My target on Bitcoin was always 117 to 130. So I was never of the belief that we'd have these crazy blow off top highs. But even I was disappointed, to be honest. I thought Total 3 would at least hit the 1.618 extension. Didn't even do that. But I was never calling for these blow off tops. But I definitely think we're going to get an easier cycle next time. It will be a lot easier. You just need the right monetary policy, the right economic climate for that. So Bitcoin losing a bit of its momentum here, starting to push down 94.9. I really can't stress this enough. If Bitcoin does lose that 94 level on the weekly close, it's probably going to get real bad real quick. So I'm hoping we hold 94, but hope isn't much of a strategy. It's not much of a strategy. 94.7 is the big level, I think. 94.5 to 94.7. That's kind of the region. We just can't go into the 93s. And you can wick into the 93s, but you can't start getting candle closes in the 93s. Otherwise, we start to break structure and lose support, which gives back all the progress we've made and essentially turns this pump into a fake out. Have a look at Sui. So I'm not seeing anything overly bullish with Sui. Got to be honest with you. It did have a bit of a breakout move, but I'm not seeing anything like particularly bullish with this chart. The RSI got super overextended on the daily. The RSI on Sui is at the same level, or was at the same level that it was at basically when it was near all-time highs. So not much momentum with this. Definitely book a one-to-one call using the link down below. Go to whop.com/cryptoarchie. WHOP.com/cryptoarchie. Book a free call. Just go to the bottom there, and there's a book a call section. You can do that, and you'll get on a call with my right-hand man. He'll talk about the markets with you. Any questions you have about anything, he'll go over. Very nice, polite guy, but also a very knowledgeable guy. So strongly recommend doing that. It's free, no hidden cost or anything. So that's a no-brainer. And for those of you interested in joining any of the membership options, just use the code TARIF at checkout. TARIF as the promo code, and you're going to save yourself 40% off. That's a big discount. One of the biggest I've ever done. That applies to all the membership options. Let's see what's going on here in the short term for Bitcoin. Bleeding out a bit. Yeah, looking quite weak here. I got to be honest. I want it to hold this support so bad because I'm hoping we can get a nice bounce up to like at least 100. And then we can get some nice trades on the alts. So look for a potential double bottom there. But yeah, Bitcoin needs to hold this 94. Let's see what else is going on. Top gainer, Dash, followed by MYX. Biggest Luna, Canton, Pump.fun. I did exit my Pump Fun long, by the way, in profits, for anyone wondering. I did alert the VIPs on that. Ondo. Man, Ondo has been a big disappointment in terms of price action, not in terms of product. They've done very well in terms of partnerships and product and everything. A really big fan of the actual project, but just such a disappointing run of price action for it. What I like as well, CoinMarketCap just added the prediction markets to it. So you're now able to see a lot of these things on CoinMarketCap itself without having to go over to Polymarket, which I really like. So what price will Bitcoin hit in January? You have a 40% chance of Bitcoin going above 100K this month. 40%. So almost 50-50 for Bitcoin to go above 100K. And we've got what, like 12, 13 days left of the year, of the month, of the year. Imagine. It'd be the quickest year ever. Fed decision in January right now looking extremely unlikely that we get a cut. Extremely unlikely that we get a cut. 96% chance of no change to the Fed funds rate in January. Also, that whole situation in Iran seems to have calmed down a bit. People were worrying that that maybe could have an effect on markets if Trump was to launch some form of attack. That hasn't come to fruition. But yeah, I think this upcoming week is mostly important because of the fact that Bitcoin's at such a crucial price level. I don't think we've got any major events that I could point to that are going to really move the market, though obviously anything could come about. But I think the main reason as to why next week is so significant is the current price region that Bitcoin finds itself in. Yeah, as I said, you hope for a double bottom there and a bounce. We've started to get it. Hopefully we can reclaim 95 and start pushing up. But guys, appreciate everyone tuning in. Definitely head on over to the VIP group. I'm going to be going into the voice chat very shortly in about 5 or 10 minutes. So I do hope to see you guys over there for a chat about the markets. We'll try and find some good opportunities. Looking forward to it. So join up, use the code TARIF, and I'll see you guys over there. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.